Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Flux of FluxWithIt.com and SonicExpansion.com, and we've got a special episode of the Synth Summit Show. This is our episode post-Namm, kind of like the debriefing of everything that we saw at Namm, everything that got us excited. Also, we're going to talk about a lot of different gear, a lot of both modular synths and, boxes. And we've got a full cast for the show today, so I'm just going to kind of run down who everybody is and just let you know. So obviously we have myself, who I'm a you know producer and sound designer and amongst other things. Alongside here we've got Saint Joe of soundsandgear.com, machinetutorials.com, and pushtutorials.com. We've got William McKnight of SonicExpansion.com and also of the Machine Warehouse, which all kind of ties together. We've got Upright Bryce, and he's got a new website coming out, ModularBeatsmith.com, and that's pretty much dedicated to modular from a hip hop standpoint. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah,
And
man.
then we've got Corey of B-Boy Tech Report. And B-Boy Tech Report, of course, is kind of like the urban side of everything gear and music production that you could possibly want to know about. So check that out. And then first-time guest on here now, we've got we've got Jacob of Roland, Canada. And Jacob happens to be a synth enthusiast as well. And I got to meet up with him at Namm. So I know he was busy at Namm, but we're going to talk to him about his thoughts from Namm as well. And I'm going to start the show off by first saying, in my opinion, this year was like the year of modular at Namm, just because everything else that came out, I mean, pretty much all the major product innovations were in some way analog synth related and had CV of some sort. The Minilog
Right.
didn't, but everything else pretty much did. Everything that was of note. And I'm gonna pass it over to Joe first and ask your impressions of Namm, being someone who doesn't have a modular yet. Did this year kind of push you over the edge?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, actually, last year pushed me over the edge in wanting to get into modular once Studio Electronics went modular. That was the first time I ever even thought of building a modular. But then, what I did like about it this year was how everybody was kind of like in a general area. It was like a huge area, but just being able to see all the stuff right there, man, was really dope. Instead of having to, search all over and everybody being split up. I think it was a really good idea that they put all the modular stuff together for people like me who not necessarily will go looking for it, but to have it right there, I definitely saw a lot of interesting stuff that I'm definitely going to be having a modular this year, man. It's scary, but yeah, it's going down.
What
Scary in
about
the fact of how much money I'm going to end up spending on modules.
what about you,
Yeah.
Corey? Corey's the only other guy in this podcast that does not currently have a true modular system in your studio. Now, you've had the Pittsburgh system on review,
Yeah.
but how did you react to this year's Namm?
You know what? I think last year's NAM, well, I'll start out with saying that I think last year's NAM, probably similar to Joe, kind of put me in a situation where I was like, all right, I'm gonna be going modular because I had that was just before or just after I had sent back the Pittsburgh modular thing. And if the situation was different, I probably would have just bought it and kept it, but I wasn't able to, and I wanted to. So then when I went to NAM last year, they had like one big booth on the first floor and another area on the in the basement,
Right.
and so it was good to have them all in one place. And then it was a lot of dope new stuff there. But I definitely think out of all the anticipation and the rumors that we thought were going to be there and that we were kind of talking about, I think Modular kind of stole the show in general. I mean, there's a couple of
Right.
standout pieces that I'm sure everybody's talking about that I'm down with too. But yeah, this is definitely the year to jump into module for me. Like to actually have like I got the phenol here and it's dope, but I'm not too sure about the banana clips. So I'm kind of working through that and checking it out and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be building my own module rig a little
Is
Yeah.
there
later this
anything in
year.
particular about the banana setup that you're not particularly finding attractive?
I wouldn't have any. It doesn't matter too much. The thing is the integration with other quarter-inch
Everything else.
things, everything else. Yeah. So if
Everything
it
else.
had like regular quarter, eighth-inch connections, then I would be able to kind of just jack in, jack out. There's all those cables are common.
Right.
But that although it does sound great, it's just that the banana clips is a little off-putting. Like, oh man, now I got to find cables to maybe work it with
Convert.
the beat step, like convert that thing over, or working with the analog force. So. Yeah, so I definitely think that, given all of that information, I'll be building a modular, and I'm gonna have to find some place to put it. That's the problem.
I will
Yes.
say, on the banana clip note, I know Logan Erickson, Low Gain Electronics,
Hmm.
does make an adapter that you can get. I believe it's passive, and it's just like a little box, and you can, it'll adapt between, I believe, eighth inch, the banana clip, and I think quarter-inch as well. So I mean that might be something worth looking into for you, or you could solder up your own. I mean, it wouldn't exactly be difficult, but that's up to you as far as how DIY you want to get.
Yeah, you know what? The little box wouldn't be. I'm actually looking at it now. The little box wouldn't be a bad idea. It's just I don't want yet another little thing sitting on my desk. Right.
Yeah, like
So,
me and
but you know what?
Corey have
The
similar
soldering.
outlook.
Yeah, we do. We do.
So real quick, I'm just gonna give an understanding about that. So if you look at Corey's room, like he's got a couple of keyboards in the back that are up against the wall, but for the most part, it's pretty nice and neat in there. You look at Joe's desk, and it looks like he has a maid coming in there and cleaning. It's so pristine and everything's so nice in there. You look at Upright. And, he's got a lot of gear in there. It's still fairly clean, but he does have a lot of gear. It's starting to be a situation where gear is piled on top of gear. I see it with the iPad sitting on top of that. I mean,
No.
That's a custom rig. He built that.
Yeah. Those
you be building
are.
those joints.
okay, so he's got some things like kind of on top of some things, but it's getting a little crammed in there. Jake is looking sexy with his mood lighting. He's got everything kind of slick.
I got a whole light show going on.
Willie's got a little bit of a mess going on. Like, now, if you look at Willie, he's got some paper stuff on there. He's got his modular kind of all over the place. He's got enough, product boxes in that corner to make a small fortune.
Right.
And then you could go to my setup, and it's like,
Man, we don't even want to start with you, man.
Yeah.
I get yelled
You're
at
gonna have
in
a
YouTube videos
flux.
for the way I treat my cables and whatnot.
Yo, you're gonna have A&E, the television network, showing up over there
I
like
think
this
it-
is
I think
special
it's
special
like
hoarders.
for different folks as far as what you'll tolerate in your
Yeah,
setup.
Yeah,
no.
You know what
I mean, I think it's whatever creative. Like I can't be creative if stuff's out of place for some reason. Like that bothers me. Whereas
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like you get creative when you just,
Yeah.
you can grab whatever.
I like.
So it's cool.
Like when you just
Yeah. Like I would be in your crib, man. If I was in your setup, I would just be sitting there like.
No, you wouldn't
Yeah.
be standing because I don't have room for you to sit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dude, I can't. I'll stay over
You
here.
guys can't see my floor. I've got snares.
Joe would probably
Like all over.
bring
I've got broken NPCs laying across the floor.
Oh, it was the worst, Ken. Though last time we were talking on the other show, you were like, "Yeah, my so and so is over there up under some stuff, beneath some crap around the other thing."
Yeah.
I'm like, that thing is new.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's push too. Yeah. I need to use that more actually. I anticipate that I will be using it more, but
It's all good, man. I mean, everybody got their
lately
thing.
I've been working on other projects.
Can I ask you guys a question? And this has to do with like the modular at a show, and particularly Joe and Corey, because I know you guys are getting ready to jump into modular, and you have the phenol. So when you look at a lot of the smaller boxes like Mother 32, phenol, the new Make Noise system, you have System 1M. So these are solutions that are kind of geared towards people that just want to kind of jump in and dabble and get their feet wet. So basically, why are you guys, leaning more towards just building full modulars rather than starting there? I mean, I'm not saying either one's right.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I think for me, I think my whole reason for wanting modulars is just because I want to be able to pick and choose, each component. Like so, those all-in-one solutions are cool, but I know that I'm quickly going to outgrow that. I already have other stuff that I want to add, so it's like I might as well just start from the beginning with whatever it is that I want. Like I was
Gotcha.
thinking about doing the whole Tone Star thing from Studio Electronics, but it's like I feel it'd probably be more beneficial for me to get the oscillator and the filters that I want and just go that way.
Gotcha.
And plus those big things take up more space. Like I don't want to have a bunch of satellite stuff. So
Gotcha.
it's
Gotcha.
like
I think it's the same for me actually, Bryce. My thing is there's a whole lot of those. One that they're a little bigger. There's a whole lot of those things as they do, all these different things. But I think the key with modular is kind of building your own custom. Like nobody's modular is the same, even if we all got overlapping modules
right.
in there.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the idea of saying, I like the way this oscillator sounds. I even like the way that oscillator sounds. But I like this filter and that filter and these envelopes. You know what I mean? So I kind of think I wanna stick to the spirit of the customization. So when I get it, it'll be like I feel like if you get one of those all-in-one solutions, you're kind of maybe not being true to the spirit of modular because it's just like another synth, and I really want to be able to experiment a lot with my modular.
So I mean, 'cause what happens if you want to change something out in one of those things? Like, I get this all in one piece, and I may like the oscillator, I may like the envelope, but I maybe don't like the filter. But you still have this big old thing taking up all this space in your rack now. Even though you can go buy other filters, it's like now you have this filter sitting here that you really don't use as often, or you can't take it out and switch it out with something else.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just wanted to ask you guys because that's pretty much how I would think as well. But you guys being kind of just jumping in is good to hear that, and I think other people might want to hear that as well.
Let me ask Jacob because so Jacob has a tie-in with Roland, of course. You're working Roland Canada, doing product specialty or community relations, or what is it exactly?
Synth product specialist.
Okay, synth product specialist. So you have the 500 series.
Yep.
And you got the ARIA line, and you have the effect modules.
Yep.
Was that your first foray into modular?
It was. It was something that I had been meaning to do for a while, because I do DIY stuff too, and it's easier to just build a module instead of trying to piece together an entire synth. So it's something that I had even gone as far as to buy a case to put stuff in, but I hadn't built anything yet. And now I've got all the System 500 stuff and all the Roland stuff to play with, so that's been keeping me busy for a while. And now I'm kind of thinking, okay, well, what modules do I want to add? And I'm kind of basing it off of what isn't in those systems.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I just want to do a simple divider to take from the System 500, its oscillators, send it in through a divider, and then I can get a sub bass or like a sub oscillator, and then mix that into the mix.
Now I have to check to see whether or not a divider is available in the app now for the effect modules. Because I think there is one, seriously.
There is a divider in those, yep.
Yeah, see? See, you're okay.
Yeah.
But no, I totally get that. And the reason why I was asking you about that is because, obviously you've got the 500 modules, and you've got the effect modules and the analog modules as well. But so I've got the System 1M here, and I've got the Roland Scooper module as well. And what drew me to getting a System 1, even though it's huge, but it's a steal also for what it is. Like the price point is really low, and the plug outs, I really like the Pro Mars sound, so I was like, I would love to have that in my modular. But I don't keep it in a rack, just because you can have its own power, and I don't want to waste the rack space, so I find that to be a thing. But when I first built my modular, one of the first modules I built was kind of a pseudo voice. It was the SEM voice expander module. So, and it's an oscillator, it's a filter, and it's a VCA all in one. And the reason why I did that is because one, that module in particular is really small, and you get all that feature.
Right.
Right. Whereas these are really big, and you get a lot of features, which is great. But that thing was like small, and I got all that in one.
Right.
So it's like, I think there's lots of different ways of looking at it depending on what you want from your modular. Like when Willie over here built his, he cracked out on filters. He cracked out on filters.
He's still cracking out on filters. Just the other day, I had to rescue Willie from a filter crack out.
Yeah.
Tell him that it was not worth it.
And that's totally, but for his purposes, it's totally valid because he's doing sound design and he's sending patches through different filters and getting totally different sounds out of them, and then sampling them and using them for the products that we work on. So it's like, if he's like, hey man, a 303 filter would probably make this product work, and then he tries that, and then he's like, yeah, but you know what? I want to have an alternate version that has an ARP filter. He can do that too. And because he's got all the Boomstar stuff, which is great.
That's one of the cool things with the System 1M too, is that you can load in different synth profiles, so you can get a bunch of different filter and oscillator sounds out of the one machine.
Right.
My only gripe about that is that I can only keep one plug out tied in there without having to hook it back up to a computer, because otherwise I would buy all the plug outs.
Right.
Except for, and listen, just to prove that we're not biased on this show, I'm going to let you know right now, I think it was a terrible idea that Roland charges for the System 1 plug out for the System 1. That blew my mind.
What?
And I don't want to talk about, it's free if you use it as a librarian. Come on. So, but no, like, I love the Pro Mars sound, and I'll probably end up getting the 101. But it irks me just a little bit that I have to plug it into a computer to do that. And in different people's setups, I'm sure that's not a problem at all. But the majority of the time when I'm using my modular, the computer doesn't come in until the very last moment. Like, the computer doesn't come in until I'm tracking it in. So for me, it's like, I try to stay away. I would love it if they put the System 1 plug outs onto an iPad like they do for updating the effect modules, and then I could just do it from there. I'd be all about that.
Yeah.
But my point being is just that, like, everybody's setup is different, so it's like, it's I can see lots of different paths to breaking in, like lots of different gateway drugs into it.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I mean, I think those boxes, all these little boxes, these self-contained boxes are really dope. Like, the Mother 32 and the Make Noise, all that stuff, I think is the System 1M. I think that stuff is dope because it lets you get in and you can actually make, music and make sounds right away. But then if you want to expand, you can still expand. So I think it's the right idea for somebody who maybe doesn't know if they want to go all the way into modular, but you still have that modular capability. It's like you can grow with it. Like for me, I already know this is what I want to do. So it's like I already know the stuff I want. So for me, it's kind of, and I'm not saying that I'll never end up messing with some of that stuff anyway, but that's just
What do you guys think of the no codes? Bryce, I know that you love all things Make Noise, but you had quite a few of their products in your time. Yeah. Did you get some hands-on time with the no coast at Namm, and what was your thoughts?
I didn't actually get to touch it, but I did spend some good time at the booth with them demoing it and whatnot. And I gotta say, for that little box, it does a lot. You can run audio into it and manipulate raw audio, and it sounds great. I think it's compared to all the other solutions, one-box solutions that are out there, Mother 32, System 1M, Phenol, and some of the others. I think it's a little. You still need a sequencer with it because it doesn't have a sequencer. So you'd have to purchase an additional sequencer or just use it without a sequencer. you know, just to make sounds. But I like it personally. I like the sound of it. It's different than, you know, the other, like I said, the other solutions that are out there. It has a different flavor and a different sound. So like if I was gonna jump into one of those just standalone systems, it would definitely probably be that one, you know, more than likely.
Do you remember what the price point on that was? I want to say it was like 5.
I think it's 599. Yep.
Okay. Did any of you guys get to see the No Coast? Anybody else?
Actually, I didn't.
I didn't. Bryce told me it was dope though. He's like, yo, did you see? I'm like, I seen it like walking past, you know, but like I said, for me, my mind was already in, you know, looking at all these individual modules now.
Right,
so,
right.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but it's like for $5.99, I'm already thinking for $5.99 I can get this, this, and this.
Right,
You know,
right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Because I saw, and just to finish up my point real quick,
Sure.
there was a female I was actually talking to. You know, she does music production and stuff, and she was actually looking at the No Coast, kind of impressed by what it does. So you know, they're like you said, different people have different desires and stuff.
I think it's dope, man. Like I said, I think
It's really small. Like I was actually surprised at how small it is. Like it's thin, man. It's only like that thick, and I'll say that just as a functionality standpoint, like I did actually have some hands-on time with it and played with it a little bit, and it sounded really cool. Definitely had a good sound to it, and it was really fun. But to me, the same reason it's a selling point for some is the exact reason why it's not a selling point for me. From what I understand, you cannot rack it up, and I've already got enough clutter. I really don't like. I don't see a $600 box adding to that clutter. I mean,
So it's kind of in the vein
it could change
of
my mind
the.
because it did sound really good, and I could totally see that. And that thing coupled with like an Arturia beat step, or running a Synthetech Sequence 8 off of battery power and sitting them next to each other, I could totally see having a blast with it. And it, like the overtone stuff, like the harmonic stuff you do with it, it sounded really cool. And it had that genuine make noise feel. Like the only downside about that thing that I really see, aside from the not technically a Eurorack module thing, is that I feel like they're going to be banking on some of that System 1M, Aria line, and Moog, you know, foray into modular, but not necessarily needing a modular rack in order to do it. I feel like they're trying to go into that same kind of realm. The difference is while the people in the modular community are fully aware of make noise, I don't think that their advertising reach is anything like what these other companies are. And, like, their advertising reach is nowhere near what Roland or what Moog is, you know? So I wonder, you know, are they going to get it into the eyes of the layman who doesn't know jack shit about modular, you know? Because those are who, you know, might be some of the best people, you know, some of the people who want that kind of esoteric modular sound but don't know jack crap about it, might not know make noise, you know?
Man, I gotta say it looks good though, man. Like that little box really does look good.
It's sleek. Yeah, it is really sleek.
Yep. I agree.
But I mean, that would you buy that or would you buy a Boomstar? You know what I mean? And granted, it's two different types of synthesis and they're very different, but
yeah, I mean,
you know, they do kind of occupy the same space.
You know what I'm gonna say to that question? Like, I'm a studio electronics fanatic, so you know. I mean, but if we're talking visuals, like, you know, I'm also big on visuals, so it's like I really do like the look of that no coast or zero coast or whatever they call it. Like I really do like the look of it because it's really nice, clean,
it's futuristic looking.
You know,
it does look real sick. It does look sick. I like it.
But I would go Boomstar just because of the sound. But
so, I got a question though. In the same vein as these all-in-one boxes, you know, we had these whole systems like Pittsburgh Modular has the whole system that Corey reviewed.
The life forms, it's real dope.
So you got that one, then you got the one from Make Noise. They have what is that?
Their shared system, and
I think a lot of people are doing that now. Doesn't SynthSummitShow Central
Yep.
Tech has systems.
Yep.
Studio Electronics has systems.
Yep.
It's just
Well, most of the modular manufacturers, I think that's kind of a goal right now to
yeah,
get a complete system, because completed systems do sell. Now,
right.
and again, this really does get to it really does get to that whole, like, what is your mindset? Because when I got into modular, that was like the last thing I would want to do, would be to buy a complete system. Now, for a lot of people, that's a goal. Like, even if they don't start with a completed system, like if they don't start with a Pittsburgh or a SynthTech complete system, their goal is still to buy all the modulars and complete that set. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then move on.
Where I see it being handy, though, having a complete system, is when you're starting out,
yeah.
you want to have a full
Everything.
voice.
Yeah.
You don't want to wait until you find the filter you want, the oscillator you want. And like that stuff could take a long time, and maybe you don't even know exactly what you want until you get going. And if you buy something that's a complete system, then you can start making sounds right away, and then add to that. Say, okay, now I'm going to try this filter here, and I'm going to try maybe this oscillator, and just keep building on that as a base,
And that's why I was. And see, that's kind of like the opposite of what I did, and a lot of the times when I'm talking to people that want to get into modular, I almost go against that, because I say, when I built mine, I built it really slow. I had that voice expander module, I had like an oscillator and a filter, and I think that was it for a little while. Like, it took me a while to get up the money to continually keep buying. Like, I'm by no means am I rich, but because it took me so long building it up, I learned each module inside out really, really well, to the point where I realized, like, okay, well, I can do non-traditional things with each module just by a little bit of, like, forced creative patching. Like, I only have 3 modules. Let me figure out what are all the possible patch combinations I can do with this, and how do they affect it, So in a way, it's like, if you start with a completed system and you've never had modular before, it's like there's so many possibilities that I guarantee you're going to be skipping past, because, like, if you took like a complete Pittsburgh modular system, right, like the 10.1 or whatever, I guarantee you, like, if you had a mathematician add up all the possibilities of every which way you could possibly patch it, it's got to be in the tens of thousands. Like, it's got to be crazy high.
That's true.
So it's like you're definitely missing stuff on one end. So, like, on one side, it's really a positive, because you can jump right in and that you have everything you need. But on the negative side, it's, well, there's still like you could learn this deeper if you spent time specifically with that. And some people had the self-control to do that. I'm not.
And I want to give credit to Joe and Corey, because they've been doing the research. You see a lot of guys on Muffs, they're posting like, okay, what do I need? What do I need for my system? And I think a lot of these people are the guys that are just running out and saying, screw it, I'm just going to buy a system Cartesian and be done with it. And when you do something like that, you really don't have an understanding of really what you're getting into. And so when you do your research from the ground up and say, okay, I need a VCA, and you really find out what exactly you're getting into and do your research, you're more better, prepared, and you'll have I think a more satisfactory experience.
But I mean, at the same time, I think for somebody that doesn't want to spend all that time, they just say, yo, I want to get into modular synthesis. I want to be able to do all this crazy stuff, but I don't want to spend the time doing the research. I know these companies have already built these systems, so I can buy it and I can get to work. Like, if I know I like Studio Electronics, or if I know I like SynthTech and I like what they're doing, let me just buy, because I know they put something together that has everything I need. So let me buy it, and then I don't have to worry about anything else. Now I can just get to start experimenting. So it's like it's like the convenience factor, right? It's like with anything. Like, I can go cook a hamburger, or I can go buy one. Like, it just depends on what you want to do.
Willie, Willie is the most recent modular addict in this group here. Let me ask Willie, what was the #1 barrier? What was the hardest barrier for you to get into modular?
The case.
That's kind of what I expected.
It's always the case. You tell somebody that you have to have a case that's gonna cost them $300 just before they even add a module that's gonna cost $300, and they're like, no.
or more, depending on what type of case you get. Like,
yeah.
Well, I can tell you that's the exact reason why I'm in the situation I'm in, because I have agonized over cases, and you guys know if the rest of the viewers could know how many times I've texted and emailed y'all guys about the possibilities and the research that I've done and the hours that I've put into it. Like, there's so many options, and then, you know, like Joe was saying, we have a similar thing about being particular about a certain thing, about how things look and how they function and how it works in the current
Corey,
setup.
you're also very fancy.
Yeah.
Well,
Corey's case has to be pinky out.
Yeah.
yeah, it does, and I'm gonna bling it out too. I'm gonna put rhinestones around the side.
But make no mistake about it. His pinky will be out on the first patch he does. I guarantee you, if you see a video with him patching, you will see pinky is out. I guarantee it.
That's y'all don't make too much of pinky.
You look at Willie.
The pinky is there for the balance. When I got the pinky out, that's because I'm trying to make sure I got it balanced.
Now you look at Willie's case and it's home built. You know, Willie's got that built out of wood.
Right. Yo, for real though, check it out. This is actually a drawer out of a dresser. So I actually that's the drawer out of a dresser.
Barbecue. Yep. Dirt on underneath your fingers case.
That's what it is. Like, I took the Pittsburgh modular case that I bought and split it so I can have 2 racks.
See? And that's the world I'm living in. I'm like, look, man, let me figure out how to do it as affordable as possible and also have it be cool, you know?
Right.
My main concern when I got a case was, let me make sure it's bigger than what I need because I know that I'm going to get addicted.
Right. Yep.
You know? So when Joe tells me, oh, I like this Waldorf that's got a key bed.
I'm already past that, man. I love it. Like, it hurts me. It hurts me because I love the Waldorf, but it's like I'm on modular grid and I'm like, I can't. This is not enough. Like, I'm already past the Waldorf, even though I love it. Like, it's not big enough. Like, somebody needs to make a keyboard case that has 2 racks in it. And
that case looks sexy though, but yeah, you'd have to set it in front of another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yep.
You have to set like another 6U behind it or something and elevate it.
Yeah, I love the way that thing looks, man. Like, that thing, I seen that, I was like, yo, that's it right there. But then I'm building my stuff and I'm like, this is not enough. I don't have enough space. I don't even have it. I don't even have it, and I already don't have enough space. Ridiculous.
So Bryce, let me ask you this: what was the module of the show for you? Was there anything that really jumped out and said, "Hey, this is pretty cool"? No, you hush. I want to hear from Bryce first.
I like chords. That module's cool, but I think for me personally, the noise engineering, I'm probably going to mess up this pronunciation, but the Basilemus Iteritas, it's a drum module.
Sure.
He names his drum, he names all his modules real weird names like that. But that module got me really excited because, you know, I'm looking at drum modules right now. So for me, that was the one. But chords by that would be my second runner-up, and then on top of that, the IntelliGel Rainmaker. It's really deep, but I'm trying to figure out, you know, because it does so much. I'm waiting for them to really show some proper demos. I didn't get to see it at Namm, but it really looks like a exciting module. They had it there and they were demoing it. I didn't get to see it until after Namm, but it looks like a really, really, really deep and powerful module. So,
right,
it'd be those 3 for me.
How about
personally.
You, Corey?
No, that's the same thing. Actually, I think what excited me most was chords. Like, I was standing there watching demo and mind just blown because, you know, how he was saying, you know, you could play a bass line through it, and he demoed that and how it automatically creates chords around it. And it's just, and I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks really nice, but it is huge in terms of, you know, the space it'll take up in your rack. But at the same time, that is a really dope module because, hey, let's face it, you're in modular territory. You're dealing with like voices, monosense. It's not. I mean, what Braids has chords mode or whatever it is.
Yeah,
But something I don't know if anything like this exists, and I thought that was pretty dope to bring chords that way and be so bold as to call it chords. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that was dope. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, Jacob, did you get a chance to get away from the Roland booth at all and actually walk the floor?
Yeah, it was limited, so most of my time I went to a specific booth. I just like opened the map on my phone and ran straight to where I wanted to go. But one of the things I think I was most excited about for modules was the Strymon. Now that they're getting into modular stuff, they have some really cool effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got some of the best effects out there. It's an ingenious move for them to go modular.
The price point made me choke.
That thing was like, what, $600?
Yeah, I think it's about $600, and I just, like, when I saw that price point, I was like, good God, man, like, really?
Why is it like that?
With all their stuff, even their pedals, it's all really high price point.
Price too, but I mean, I just felt like, as excited as I was to see them jump into the foray, that price point to me just. Yeah. I don't see it. Like that price point was just a little too crazy. When for me, the ones that I really got excited about was the 4MS had their dual looping delay, and that thing was super cool. I really liked it. It looked really fun. The chords module kind of like shocked me. Like I thoroughly thought it was gonna be like digital because because it's chords and the harmonization aspect of it, and then he was like, no, it's analog, and I was just like, what? That doesn't even make sense in my brain. So yeah, like the qubit stuff really had me pretty excited, and the Dave Rossum stuff really, like the Rossum music,
that Morpheus, man.
Control Forge though.
All of it, like had me just like gobsmacked. And here's just a small point I want to say about this. By and large, most of them, I will say, Dave Rossum had more energy at his booth than anybody else in any of the modular booths, and he's twice the age of most of these guys.
Right.
And he had such like an energy and a passion about what he was doing, and it got me so excited to see him like he was so utterly passionate about it that
did you get some video? Hyped. Did you get some video with him, Ken? Or
It's not done editing. I'll upload it this weekend. I promise. That'll actually be the next video that I edit. I still have a lot of videos from Namm to put up, but so I'm gonna put that up. But I was actually talking to a friend on the phone today about the Namm situation, and it kind of brought out a point that. It was funny that the older the guys that were there at Namm seemed to have more passion than the people who were younger. Like, it was crazy. Like, so I mean, there's a lot of really great younger guys. There's a lot of really great younger guys, but like if I went to like Dave Rossum, he had like the most. If I went to Mark from Studio Electronics, he was like super enthusiastic. And then when I went and talked to like the younger guys, they were all enthusiastic, don't get it wrong, but they like their level of enthusiasm outwardly, like it paled comparison to these guys. Like these guys were like, oh, I've been doing this for like 40 years, and they're like glowing twice as bright as ever. So it just.
But I think that's the thing, though, Ken. The thing about that is that you got these guys who've been doing it for a few decades already, and they saw a certain death of analog. You know what I mean? They saw a certain decline in things.
For them, it's like a new life. It's like a new life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the rebirth. And they're excited about that. So I can imagine that that's the way it is. I mean, to see, too, also, I mean, imagine this, Ken. It would be like all of us who are into hip-hop, like looking up and all of a sudden all of the trap becoming classic hip-hop style stuff. Like, I would be out there like, yo, what we doing, y'all?
He's just running through the streets, grabbing candy.
Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's the thing.
I mean, that was really cool for me. Joe, did you see any modules that grabbed your attention straight away?
Chord, and I think it's chord without an S.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
You're,
you're
you're
right.
probably right. Yeah.
Chord was insane. And then also I was really excited to see Modal's
Yeah.
008 filter
Mm.
as a module. Like I love that. Like to have all those different filters and still be analog filters and to be able to get that as a module. I think for me those two things were really crazy. I mean, of course I've always been in love with the studio electronic stuff, so that's kind of like a default for me. Like their stuff is always good to me, but the new stuff for me, like that chord module and that 008 filter, man.
With the 008, is it continually variable like it is on the synth?
I believe you can. I believe you can modulate it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I think so. I think it has CV where you can go through it like you can on the synth. I hope
Nice.
so. Like that's one of the main reasons I like it. So I'm hoping that you can do that.
You know, one of the modules that I like that I didn't think about just now, but now, like, and it was just because, you know, I was talking to St. Regis and he was demoing it, but and I don't even know the name of it. Maybe one of you guys do the circles thing. It's like a sequence.
Charcoal circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charcoal circle. That joint is cold blooded. I mean, he just did a couple of different things with it, and I was looking at that like, oh man, I think I'm gonna need that. You know what I mean? It was just. It seems like you can get so super experimental with it. It seems really cool.
So my problem with Charcoal Circles and being at the Studio Electronics booth was that he's such a funky dude on his own that I was like, it was one of them situations where, like, you know, when you see Jordan Rudess demoing like a piece of crap keyboard, but he's so good that he makes like even like a Korg Nano key look cool. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that for me because I'm like, Mark was getting down, like he was getting straight funky on all his modules. And I was like, man, am I gonna be able to do that, or is he
right?
This is some sort of Jedi mind trick on the module.
Yeah, like he had Charcoal Circles going, and then they had a new module, the Tone Star, and
Yeah.
man, like the bass that he was kicking out of that thing, and it was just funky. Like the whole thing, it was just funky in a way. It was almost like a TB 303-ish, but like more like rounded and warm and like funky.
Definitely.
Like,
it was definitely deep,
like,
man.
He was
definitely
getting
real
on that
deep
thing,
and
man.
round.
I started to drool like a little bit, and I had to catch it, you know.
I mean,
well, you know what?
originally
When he was
I was gonna
demoing it for
build.
me, I looked over. Joe was over there. I looked over to Joe like almost with my mouth hanging open, like for real. You know, it was just
Yeah. No, I mean the Tone Star, man. Tone Star's dope. Like when I seen it, I was like, yo, this is it. I'm starting my modular from this, but then it's like the more I got into it, I'm like, or I can just get the oscillator and that same filter, and you know, it's like one of them things. Like it's dope. And then one thing, honestly, like I feel like it deviates a little bit from the look of the rest of the modules that they make. And I kind of like the look with the bigger knobs that they have on their stuff, and I feel like that one deviates a little bit. So that was another thing for me. But I mean, it sounded incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say that. So that the audio damage, like again, like Bryce was saying, I'm on a drum kick, and so audio damage had a new analog kick drum, and I really liked the sound of that thing. It was you were able to really fine tune the envelopes and get it how you want it. That thing sounded really good. I like that a lot. The hex inverter mutant snare surprised the hell out of me. I was kind of expecting a more mundane 808 snare. Because from my understanding, that's kind of what it was based around. But when I actually heard it, I was really impressed, like to the point where I was like, yeah, I need to have this like right away because it just cracked. Like oh man, I love a good snare, and that thing really impressed me. And I've played with like the Mutant Machine, which is also really good, but the Mutant Machine is like. So it takes up a bit more space, obviously, but it's a pretty complex one. It's more based around like the 909. And
is it a full drum machine?
No, Mutant Machine is basically like a tweak on the 909 snare voice. So it has like it's a lot like this.
So it's just the snare. Bryce, is that the one you was talking about getting?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Mutant, I don't have one.
Yeah,
I would love to demo one, Hex, if you're out there. But so just like I have the Mega percussive synth here, and you can see that it has like individual aspects to it for like the snare crack the shell and the ring on it. The Mutant Machine's kind of similar in that, so
Okay.
it has a lot of detailed function and a lot more than that even.
Right.
But the Mutant Snare is more. It's more compact and it's more straightforward to use, and it just sounds great. Like
Yeah.
I was really impressed when I heard it.
Right.
Because I'm always like my favorite snare drum right now is honestly the Neutron Sound Orgon Accumulator. Like this rack that I'm using right here is actually what I'm using primarily for drums right now, and I keep 2 Orgon accumulators in it because it's such a great drum module. And that's not even its primary function, which is crazy.
Right.
So Mutant Snare really did it for me.
Cool.
And yo, just to mention one more, since y'all took all the good ones now. Macro Machines, the Omnimod.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That is
Yeah. Yep. That was a real good one, actually. I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah,
That could be your maths. That could be like, it's not a maths, but it could be something like that, like an alternative modulation source.
complex modulation source.
Yeah.
Plus you can see the waveforms that you're making on the little screen.
Yeah, I think you really like that. I think you'd really like that, Joe.
They got a screen on it?
Has a screen on it where you can see exactly the waveform that it's spitting out, and it's a sequencer. It's called Mode Machine. What is it? Mode Machines? Macro Machines. Yeah, Macro Machines. Omnimod. Yep.
I actually just got a message from Nico saying what's up to Bryce.
Oh, okay. What's up, man? Oh, okay.
So,
yeah. Me and him talk. Real cool guy, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, that thing looks really cool. The Mordax oscilloscope module was one of them ones where when I had heard about it, I was like, oh, that thing costs way too much for an oscilloscope. But when I saw it in person, cool, that thing is dope. Like,
yo, I want this right now.
Yeah, see, I told you.
Yeah.
the Omnimod, right?
Yeah, I just looked it up. Okay. Yep. Yeah. That looks dope. See, that's what I like to see. That looks nice, clean, and powerful. You know.
Right.
I'd love to check it out, man. I gotta. I need more modulation like strict modulation sources in my rack.
Right.
That I'm gonna be checking out too.
That looks dope, man.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, it can I don't know if he can update it or if it's gonna have more features, but already as it is, it's super powerful. Man.
I like the idea of having that screen on there too, man. It looks, I mean, it looks really
well. That the big thing about that, right, Joe, is that it has a screen. So if it got all those multiple modes, it has a screen that's gonna demystify it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you just turn. Like if I just turn it, like Willie say, if I turn it left or right, I'm gonna see the wave go left or right, and so that for me, like that's all I need, man. You know.
Joe, see what you gotta understand is left is negative, right?
No, stop.
Oh, and Corey, there's actually footage on that in those videos that you're gonna upload.
Oh yeah.
So Bryce got footage of the Omnimod. I did not get any footage of it at Namm, so I was actually.
Well, that'll be up this weekend. I'm probably gonna take some time, not tonight, but tomorrow, to get that stuff converted and uploaded, and that'll be one of them, obviously. So.
Man, look. Yo, it says user-friendly interface with intuitive visual feedback. That's speaking right to what I want to see.
Exactly.
That's it. Like this.
Yeah.
I might have to check that out for sure.
Yeah, I just got a message from Mark telling me that ponytails help with the energy levels in old folks.
Oh yeah, that's why he always. Hey, I've never seen him without a ponytail, man. Like
I think I don't know. I don't know what number this is because the name didn't come up in my phone. I think that's him. I could be wrong. I don't know.
And Mark is dope, man. The first time I met him, I met Mark at Namm, he was we was looking at Boom Stars, and then before long we was talking about Boom Stars, Chicks, and the New World Order. Right there at the booth, and when I left, I was like, "That dude is dope."
Cool people, man.
Like, I came away from Namm like with with a huge grin on my face, not just because of the gear, but because of all the new friends that I was meeting and everything.
Right.
And that's kind of like every year. It's really great to meet up with your friends, but I felt like this year I met more new friends than I had in any other year, and I think part of that speaks to the modular community as a whole, because this year the modular community showed up in force at Namm in a way that it never has. And
Definitely, yeah.
It was, so it really, really just kind of like, it was awesome to see how people tied together. I want to say one other quick module before I even forget it. The Bastel instruments. And this isn't even necessarily their newest stuff that I'm talking about, but I finally got to see their motors in person, and how their motors hit stuff, and you can attenuate the CV on it. And, dude, I gotta get that. Like, they sold me on that stuff. So it's like so out of the box the way those guys think.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. Like, I was really excited by their stuff, and getting to meet them. They were really cool people too. But I was really impressed by some of the things that you could do with those motors. It's like it's a thing that you wouldn't normally think of using in your setup, but man, those things were cool. Now,
this was my first time at Namm, so I don't really have anything to compare, but it was a lot of fun.
Right.
It was Willie's first
It
year.
was Willie's first time too, so yeah.
So, you're not low.
Man, yeah, that's a good question. You guys being your first time at Namm, was it overwhelming, or how? I mean, I know you had a lot of stuff to do corporately, Jacob, but Willie, I mean, how'd you guys feel being there for the first time? How was that?
The first day was overwhelming for me, but then I kind of settled into a groove. But like you said, I had a busy schedule that I kind of just ran downstairs to the show floor in between stuff.
Right.
But the noise was overwhelming too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, always is.
It was great, man. I walked in and I felt like I was in gear heaven. I was like, man, this is ridiculous, man. I said, like, literally, I was walking through corridors of gear, and I'm just like, man, this is absolutely outrageous. And then they said, that's just the first floor. I said, what? We got 3 more floors to walk. I said, nah. Crazy.
Yep.
I can tell you a quick story about what happened. So Willie stayed by my side pretty much all in Namm, which was dope. And me and Willie have been working together for a long time, but this is the first time that we actually got to hang out in person. And what was really great is, I kept telling Willie, I was like, normally I cover, when I go there, I try to do press for like Akai and Yamaha, Roland, like all the big guys as well. And because, a lot of the hip-hop guys, they want to know about Montage. They want to know about, the new studio controller from Akai. They want to know, is there a new sampler from Roland?
Roland sampler.
I'm
trying to look. I'm trying to see if he gave any. He didn't move. He didn't move his face. He's good. He was just like.
So, but what happened was, it was like both Willie and I, as we took steps away from the WMD booth, which the WMD booth was like the main area of Modular, as we got further and further away, it was like all the oxygen was being sucked from the room, and we were losing power, and we were just like, oh man, I gotta get back to the Modular area, because nothing was nearly as exciting as that booth, because when you went there, it was like 15 manufacturers, and they all had like 5 products that you had to see.
Yeah.
So it was like everything was in. Namm is 4 floors of insanity.
Yeah.
There was a square area where all that insanity was like
compounded. Yeah. I agree.
I'll tell you what, if more of the big companies don't see that and take notice, they're out of their mind. Like, I expect next year to see like Yamaha out with like a Modular. Like, I totally expect to see all of them doing it, because
if they did some CS stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like some CS filters and oscillators.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, but
here's something to ponder about that though. The bigger companies, again, I mean, the independent companies kind of have some sort of advantage, a very cool advantage, because they they can just kind of be free and create all kinds of wild stuff.
I was
right?
just gonna say the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, so I think the bigger companies, I wonder if all of the bigger companies would really get it, like to know where to get in, where they fit in, and put out something that people really want, especially if they have a history.
Yeah, I think a lot of bigger
them.
companies will be watching companies like Roland, though, right? Like
that's true.
They're sitting back and they're watching to see how Roland does with the System 500 stuff, and they're kind of watching this, and I think they're taking their cues from them, because Roland was the first bigger company to kind of go that route, right?
Yeah.
I'm biased, but I think it was a good idea to partner with someone because, like you guys were saying, with the restrictions of the big company, it didn't have to go through 10 different people. It was literally Josh at his desk making it, and when it was done, he sent it off, and that was it.
Right. And I think that was smart, and that speaks to that point that I was saying too, right? Because there's so much to deal with a big company, but just the mindset alone, if you're thinking about the mindset alone, like one person, an independent group of just a couple dudes can really get some incredible stuff done. But then where you leverage that is with a company like Roland, that you hand it over and say, now mass produce it and market it.
Right.
Man.
Yep.
And what's also interesting about how Roland did it is they did like a multi-tiered approach. It wasn't just one thing.
Yeah.
They came out with a whole line of analog, which is paired up with a top-notch modular company already, a top-notch modular designer who's got a really great name under him, And then on top of that, they did the System 1M, which is a semi-modular to get people get their regular customers aware of the situation, you know what I mean? And then they did, these effect modules, they're not necessarily completely typical. Like they're definitely different than what most of Eurorack has. It's an interesting approach. You've got the changeability with the app, so they're using their expertise to in designing DSP, and Bryce and I were talking about how the Scooper has a similar sound to like the SP303 or SP404, whichever it was. Has like a scatter function to it, and it's got a very similar sound to that. So they're kind of drawing on past history and letting you do new things. And then on top of that, as a digital module, and I know some people will get irritated about this, but the knob resolution is crazy high. So you don't have issues like Dave Smith Instruments where their profit, if you sweep a filter slowly with the resonance all the way up, you hear that stepping. You don't get that on the System 1 at all. And it's digital. You know what I mean? And you don't get that on these things at all. Like the resolution is so crazy high, it might be overkill, but I'd rather them go overkill than have stepping in an analog filter.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just messing with we were talking about this earlier. I was just messing with the Minilog. I have the Minilog and I have the Prophet 12 sitting side by side right now, and I was messing around with seeing how much MIDI control I can do with the Minilog of the Prophet 12, and comparing the filters and that sort of stuff, because one of the reasons why I bought the Minilog was I wanted all the analog, normal poly analog sound that the Prophet 12 kind of more struggles with, whereas the Prophet 12 can do all this crazy complex stuff. This more simple VCO sound, I was like, oh, the Minilog will probably give me that. And it does. It absolutely does. But then I started sweeping the filter with high resonance on the Minilog, and I don't really hear any stepping or anything. But then I did it on the Prophet 12 again, and it like shook me again. I'm like, why, Dave Smith? Why do your knob step?
Now, to be clear on that, it only steps when it's being controlled via MIDI. So it doesn't step when you use. Wait, hold on.
You want me to do it right now?
No.
Right now? I'll do it right now.
No. Look. I just want you to clarify.
You got him heated now, Bryce.
Listen.
My face is getting hot.
I just want to.
That's the bourbon.
I just want to clarify.
Let me just say, this is actually my barley wine that is 2 years old now. It's been bottle conditioning for 2 years, and it's delicious. So,
Listen, Ken, look, just to clarify, you're saying when you actually grab the knob on the P12 with the resonance up, you can hear stepping?
yes, I feel like people need to see me do it. You want me to do it right
No,
now?
no, you don't have to do it.
I
I
have
just
it
want
set up. I have it. All I have to do is hit one
wanna
button and I
see
can
it.
show you.
No, I just wanted to be clear because I thought
Don't be scared. Don't be
Do
scared.
it.
If you're scared, just say you're scared.
No. We
You
don't have
gotta
to do
do it. You
Because
gotta do it.
I bet you money you could do it on your Pro too.
You gotta
I
do
don't.
it.
I'm gonna try it, but
We don't believe you.
I
I
believe.
don't believe him at all.
Do
I
it or it
believe you.
didn't happen.
No. Listen, I believe you.
She's like, please don't do it.
Hold on.
I'll just keep quiet over here.
Let me make sure the audio from the Minilog is off. Minilog is right here. That's off. Muted. Okay. So give me 1 sec. I don't know what patch is loaded up, so let's see. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not in the way. Hold on. Do you hear those notches? It drives me nuts. Hold on. Here we go. You guys could hear it.
Okay, yeah, I hear a little bit of stepping in there.
Okay, so hold on.
Bryce said yours is broke.
Broken by design.
Okay,
One,
man, that's
one thing to keep in mind though while testing that, because I noticed you had the resonance cranked way up. A lot of times
Yes.
what I notice people think is stepping, and I can't tell from the audio over the stream whether it was stepping or not, but sometimes what people hear as stepping is actually the resonance peaking all the harmonics. Once it reaches a specific harmonic, the level of that harmonic will go up, and
Mhm.
sometimes you hear
I
that.
get what you're saying, and I'll tell you right now, it's definitely not that. I've gone through it so many times, and it's definitely not that because I've done it with multiple other filters, and the stepping is too pronounced. Like so, it would be a much finer stepping, like in different harmonics, but when I do it on that, no, it's way too pronounced for and too far apart.
Well, I think it's funny that you're noticing it on a DSI instrument because I've seen several interviews with Dave Smith where people are talking about MIDI resolution, and he says the problem isn't the resolution
I've
of
seen
MIDI,
those
it's the manufacturers who make the sense.
And that's that's the part that drives me nuts because I've seen those interviews and I've asked about it, in their forums and sent them emails, and I usually get the response of it's an inherent flaw in analog design or this is a part of how analog. And I'm like, come on, man, don't talk to me like I don't know how an analog synth sounds. Like I've got a lot of different filters in here. I know how a filter sweep should sound, and a lot of people say, oh, well, that's not a musical usage case for these synths. And I'm like, look, dude, you bought yours for playing Michael Jackson riffs. That's fine. I bought mine. Like, I'm not playing Superstition on mine. I use mine for sound design. And, yeah, manual, slow sweeping, high resonance sounds. That's part of what I do. If I did that same sweep with, I've got the Mode Machines OMF1 right here. If I do that same sweep with that, I would not hear that sort of stepping. And and listen, I'm not saying don't buy Dave Smith instrument products because they're still absolutely, the best analog poly synths out there. I absolutely love the Tempest. Like, I love his products, but don't tell me that thing doesn't have shitty resolution on that, that they couldn't do a better job with that. Like, and when I see resolution like I see on these things, I'm like, yo, like, that's how if I'm paying $2,000 plus for a synthesizer, that's how it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you should go over the top with your specifications.
Yeah.
On the mini, or even on the Minilog. Even on the Minilog.
Yeah, on the Minilog.
Yeah, the Minilog, I don't get the stepping. My
Right.
sub fatty, I don't get the stepping. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like.
One of the funny things about the Minilog, the filters on it, I read somewhere that the filters actually use Norton amps, which are different type of amplifiers. It's actually intended for control purposes, not necessarily audio. But one of the neat things, you may have noticed that the synth sounds kind of aggressive. I found the thing it does the best is actually bass lines. The only other synth I'm aware of that uses Norton amps is the Russian synth, the Polavox.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good little tidbit right there.
That
Yeah,
is.
I've been
That is.
He actually made me want one.
Oh shoot! Never mind then.
You need a JDXA, right?
Yeah.
So I will say, I said this on the other show, the Producers Hangout show, which if people are watching this, you should be aware. We also have another show called the Producers Hangout that's a little bit less synth specific. But I actually totally disagree as far as what you said about bass sounds. For me, the Minilog bass sounds is its weak point.
With the resonance down, I was talking. Once you tune the resonance up, I saw your demo where the cuts out.
So
I would agree with
resonance
that.
down, and then you can get some pretty nice bass sounds out
Definitely.
of it. The filter on the Minilog I really like. The Q compensation isn't great. It's also not the worst I've heard. I think the work stat actually is a little bit worse on that level. Which I from what I understand, the Mother 32 is the same design as the work stat. I don't know, but I mean, that's not a huge down point. It's just the character of the filter. But I really like the sound of that filter, and I've been having a blast making patches on that thing. But who here got a chance to play on the MatrixBrute? Did we all?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the first place I went. I had my first appointment on Thursday.
Yeah, you were smart enough to plan ahead and have an appointment for that. I just kind of showed up. So let me get
But your interview was the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
You geeked out, man. It was
Yeah,
dope.
it was really good. I had to go to the booth 3 times before I got some time to really play on it properly.
What was your
because
thoughts on
they were swarming.
What was your thoughts on it, Jacob?
I think it is the most powerful, well, when it comes out, it will be the most powerful monophonic analog synth on the market. The only other thing that I can think of that compares would be the Moog Voyager, which is no longer in production and only had 1 filter, where this one has 2 filters.
Good point.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Somebody's gonna have to come out after that comes out specifically with something to beat that. Like, it's just such a powerful thing, man. Like, I know, and it just makes you want to play it. And the fact that they put all that stuff in there, but it's really intuitive. Like, I don't geek out like y'all. Like, you know that. So, that's another thing I loved about it. Like, everything, the layout and how all the modulation and everything was really straightforward. Like, I didn't need a manual. As soon as I walked up to it, you can just look at it and see how it operates. And that's
Matrix patching is really cool because it's like having a modular synth with all the cables and mesh and everything's laid out right there.
That's exactly what Joe said. That's
why I love it, man. I'm like, cause see, I look at these guys, man. I look at Willie and Flux and Bryce, and I see all these wires, and that's one of the things that keeps me hesitant about modular. I'm like, I'm one of them guys, and I'm taking all my wires out when I'm done. I don't just want all those wires. So like the MatrixBrute, man, like the MatrixBrute, being able to go in and save that stuff and save all that crazy modulation, but it still just looks clean. Like that really excites me.
I can see that.
Well, there's so much to that. Like the one thing about there's a couple things about the MatrixBrute. One, it's got a million of everything on it. There's so many knobs, so many everything. But somehow they managed to keep it clean, and the layout is intuitive, like you said. And the other thing about the Matrix, I mean, that thing could be a product of its own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
a whole separate product of its own.
Yeah,
And the
good
fact
point.
that you could use the sequence, the 64-step sequence as a modulation point.
Wow.
You know, you actually have a CV for that that you can route out to your modular. Like there's so much that's just nuts about it. You know what I mean? The third oscillator is not only an oscillator, but it's an oscillator and an LFO.
At the
It's
same
not one or the
time.
other. It's
At
the
the
same
same
time.
Yeah.
I want to say this. I think for me, I know most of you guys are really impressed with it. I just want to hear what it's capable of. Like I've seen it. I've been explained. Shown all the features, shown the 64-step sequencer and all that, but I just haven't heard anything that compels me to like say, "Wow, this is amazing." And I know that that'll probably come with time, and I know it's not an actual product that's shipping yet. So
let's be honest. You wanted an 8-voice polysynth.
I did.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
did, but
so,
yeah.
Like if it was an 8-voice polysynth, the same exact build, you'd be like, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, we gotta throw that out there. Like,
yeah.
You really don't have a need for it though. Like you don't have a need for it.
I don't. That's true.
The first thing that came to mind when I saw it was I remember, I guess it was like 2 or 3 NAMMs ago. The first time I saw the Schmidt. That synthesizer, and that's kind of what it brought to mind because it's a huge front panel with mad knobs on it, and I was like, Arturi made a Schmidt, like
right.
Only at a fraction of the cost, though.
Oh, and that was Doug Slocum that gave me the heads up earlier about the ponytails, and also he says that, and I'm gonna pronounce it wrong because I've never heard anybody else say it. It's is it Sergey or Serge Synths? They had those Norton amps in them as well. So,
oh, okay. Oh, good.
Shout out to Doug. Thanks for the heads up on that. But yeah, I mean, when I saw that layout, man, like it broke my brain. I was like, you guys did not really just do this. Like,
and
you know what? I went up to the OB6 and I played on the OB6, and I was tweaking it, and I went to the Matrix and I played it, and the Matrix, you would look at it and say, oh, it's going to be more complex to play. That thing is laid out better than any synth I've.
That's what I'm saying. That's what got me. I'm like, yo.
It truly is a wonderful layout. Very intuitive, and it has a flow. But you know what, though? The thing is I think back to like Minimogs, and that layout has been like the thing that everybody has tried to emulate at some point or another. Like the flow of the signal should be the layout. And when you look at the MatrixBrute, you see the flow of the signal.
Good point.
Layout that you know what I mean? Like it's like oscillators, filter, mixer oscillators, the mixer, then it's the filters. You know what I mean? It's just really well laid out. Like, and I'll tell you on another tip, I have the ARP Odyssey sitting over here, and as much as I love it, the layout is crazy dumb. I don't even know what Bob Moog sued them back in the day, and what did they want to just do exact opposite of what
Well,
this is a synth. It takes you a minute to get used to what this is, especially if you come from a thing where soft synths or even like anything that's followed the Moog layout.
Well, you have a Voyager also, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You were accustomed to the Voyager layout, and then you got that Odyssey, and you were just like, "What the hell is this trash?"
Yeah, it was like getting somebody telling you the matrix, like the metric system. Like that's it. The Voyager is feet and inches. You know what I'm saying? The Odyssey is the metric system, and I was like, "What the hell?" Is a centimeter.
So basically, what you're saying is the Voyager is like Willie, and the ARP is like Ken.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The ARP is flux. You're like, what? I don't even understand what's going on. The Voyager is like Willie. Like this is what it is.
The thing to keep in mind with the ARP is that was way back when everyone was still experimenting with different layouts and different names too. Like even it wasn't ADSR always. It was like weird names. And Moog was like the first one that sort of come out with that set layout in the Model D and the Minimoog.
Yeah.
And everyone liked it so much that that's what everything else afterwards kind of emulated. So we are so used to that right now.
Yeah, good point.
The ARP is from a
It became kind of
period
the
when they were
standard.
still trying to figure that out. Yeah, there was no
Yeah,
standard
right.
back then.
Right.
So with that
And that's
thought
the
in
thing.
mind-
You have to kind of figure that out when you're looking at the ARP. You could press the thing. I had a session at a studio, and I brought the ARP, and the keyboard player was the illest keyboard player I'd ever heard. He got on the grand piano and played the illest stuff. He played on my Rhodes and played the illest stuff. He had his big motif that was like 50 feet long, and that was the illest stuff. But when he got to this little ARP, he was like, "Yo, B-boy tech, come over here, man," because he couldn't figure out how to get the thing together. It's that crazy.
Yeah, wow.
So with that thought in mind, though, when you guys lay out your modulars, are you guys using traditional synth layout of subtractive synthesis?
I'm trying to.
That's what you're.
It's
That's
tough.
what you're wanting to do.
Well, you know me. I'm kind of trying to keep my stuff organized.
Right.
And it's not organized all the way traditional, but it's like I want it so I can follow a path. Like if I want to get
flow.
Yeah, like if I want to go from a gate, the MIDI input to the amp, I want it to be right there. I don't want to have to go like this. You know,
Right.
and then it's like, so it's kind of like I got like my oscillators and everything at the top, and then I come down into my filters and all my modulation stuff on the bottom. So it's like I want to have it. While it may not be a traditional synth path, like it's still there's a rhyme and reason to how I have everything, just because I want to be able to follow. But that's just me.
I think I definitely think with the way I envision mine, I'm kind of following that traditional, MIDI mode layout. Like but at the same time, I know it's going to get a little crazy because the key with a modular is like one of those brain teaser puzzles. You only have so much space, and then you got the modules that you want, and maybe you can't keep. And then depending on how big or small they are, they just can't fit in some places with other stuff because
it's very stressful. It's very stressful. It's very stressful for somebody like me to not be able to have everything exactly how I want it. Like so I've been moving stuff all around. Like I've scrapped it like multiple times. Just because I don't. If I have all my
best layout.
Yeah, because it's like if I have all my oscillators here, I don't want to have a random oscillator down here. Like that would bother me. I'm like, you just come out, you just don't get to play. Like you don't. It's just not gonna, But that's just So it is kind of traditional, but it's more so just making sure that I have a flow to how everything. Like I don't want to just be going all over the place to do stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All my filters are together, my envelopes together, my oscillators together, all my modulation stuff is together, and
Yep. I'm looking forward to you guys. What was that, Ken?
Oh, I was just asking about your modular layout. Do you follow that kind of methodology, or do you?
Yeah, actually I do. Like all my oscillators are at the top. I have flame at the bottom in the bottom row, or I'm sorry, 4-box at the bottom row. But yeah, I think like typically having all my oscillators on one row helps just for patching because if running from it just keeps things I think moving downwards, and that kind of makes sense to me. That kind of makes sense to me. So I can definitely see that, but after time, I also noticed that when you start filling up, when your cases start filling up, like me, I'm on 9U now, so 3 rows. You might see an oscillator that you like, and then you already have a full row of oscillators. So at some point, you don't really have space for an oscillator where you would like to put it. So you just kind of have to.
I would rearrange everything. I would rearrange it all. I'm like, this got to all come apart. Like, I'm not just having a random oscillator over here. That's just me, man.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
But I'm just saying, I would be the guy that would take everything apart just to make sure this oscillator can be with the rest of the oscillators. Like, that's banana. It's crazy, though.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
It is.
So like, I'm on 9U now, and so basically when I get something new, I kind of just throw it in and just start working with it now,
So what I've noticed is I've actually gotten further and further away from the traditional layout of my modules as time goes on, and I found different things dictating where things go. Like I do try to keep all my oscillators together for the most part, But the things that I found that don't fit into the traditional synth layout is clocking, and I
Yeah.
kind of use like clocking is kind of what I base everything else around in a way. So like I'll do sequencers and clock dividers and gates and logic modules. Like they tend to all kind of hover around in a cluster around themselves.
Mm-hmm.
From there, where am I going to be sending that stuff to? And that kind of dictates where my stuff goes. Whereas
Right.
it used to be more like what you guys are saying about, okay, well, I want this signal flow, and I used to kind of try to go more left to right, as opposed from top to top to bottom. But now it's like a lot of it is clocking and CV and logic, and then have it, how can that like explode and dissipate into different ways, in interesting ways on there. Now, right now, like I said, like I've been kind of, and I'm waiting to build another case, but I'm kind of doing a lot of percussion synthesis lately for some packs that I'm working on. So that, if you're doing percussion stuff, it doesn't fit into any kind of subtractive synthesis normalcy in any way. But when I move it all back, it's still like clocking is kind of number one for me. Like clocking and multiplication, to be honest. Buffering things out and that kind of stuff. But
so it's next level when a guy tells you, like, he's pointing at one case and he's like, this is kind of clocking and logic and then he moves his hand to a whole nother case before he starts talking about voices and filters and stuff. That's
the key word.
I don't want to get to that place.
Yeah, but see, that's flux, right? Like the key word, if you listen to him explain stuff, the key word he said was explode. That's exactly
right.
If you look at it, he said explode. When I see fluxes set up, that's what I see, an explosion of random noise and sounds and just ideas explode. Like that was perfect when he said that. I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly what you got going on. You got stuff explode. You got stuff all over.
Yeah, Jacob, you set up because you're using mostly all the rolling stuff. Are you keeping like all the analog modules in one row and then the digital stuff in another, or like how are you doing with that?
Yeah, I do it like that because my setup is for demonstration purposes.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
One thing I did differently in like the System 500 complete kits, it goes oscillator, filter, VCA, and then the dual envelope. And I always use the dual envelope to control both the VCA and the filter. So I ended up moving the envelope in between the VCA and filter so that it was closer to patch into each of those.
That's exactly how I would have it set up. I'd have the envelope before the VCA. Yeah.
So maybe you should just tell Rowan they got it wrong.
Yeah.
Your opinion is wrong.
Well, he is telling them that every time he rearranges it during demo sessions.
Fair enough. What's been the reaction when you go and do demos with the modular stuff? Are you getting a lot of like non-modular guys at those demos, and what's the reaction?
It's a bit of both. Like I've done stuff at modular meetups where the people are like you guys, complete keeners, right? And they know all about it. And those are the people who usually come up and start patching stuff themselves and want to get their hands on it and try things out, turn the filter knob, turn the cut off and listen to it. But then I also do a lot of in-store training, teaching sales staff, and some of these stores, Roland is the first modular stuff that they're carrying, so I have to kind of introduce them to the modular world even. So.
That's interesting.
That's crazy. I can't.
Well, it's not odd though. It's not odd.
Guitar Center and trying to teach Guitar Center staff.
Well, the thing is that every time I walk into Guitar Center, I'm having to teach some of them guys something. Like I've come in there with questions, and I'll get in there and they'll be like, "Dude, I don't know. You just told me more about the thing than I know about the thing. When's that part coming?" Man, listen. So I could imagine going in and teaching them modular is just, something else.
All right. Well, listen. I think on that note, we'll close out the show. And what I'd also like to say is thanks to Jacob for coming through, and hopefully he can come by for some more shows.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah,
Good meeting you, Jacob.
Yeah, good to have you, Jacob.
Yeah, nice meeting everyone. Thanks.
And yeah, hopefully my cough will be gone by next show too. So Bryce, I'll let you say your final farewells.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Jacob. I enjoyed Namm, I wanted to say, and it was a good show this year at Namm. Got to make a lot of good connections, meet a lot of new people, and yeah, so.
Cool. And Corey?
Yo, thanks for having me on the show, man. It's always good to rub elbows with the homeboys, and we always have a good time. This is a dope show with the focus being on synths. And yeah, just make sure to check out the other stuff that I got going. B-Boy Tech Report, beatpeople.com, and the podcast, my podcast, Beat People, the podcast. So we'll be doing that. Yeah, it's just going to be every first Saturday of the month at 11 a.m.
Dope.
So it'll be next Saturday then.
Cool. Word. Jacob?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was nice meeting everyone. Check out my website. I got some of my DIY projects on there. Maybe we can talk a bit about DIY next time. I don't know. Yeah, I know Flux, you do a lot of it. Cool. I don't know if the other guys do.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely do some DIY talk. That'd be great. And Joe, the non-DIY guy.
Exactly. Like, yeah.
That's why he did that smug laugh over there. Like,
yeah.
I'm not
I mean, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not. I send it to you when you build it for me, man. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. But no, man, it was cool, man. I mean, thanks for having me on the show. Definitely, I'm a little bit more of a non-explosion guy when it comes to my synth stuff. So, but I think it's cool. So, follow me, soundsofgear.com, push tutorials, machine tutorials. And I'll be getting into modular this year, so I'll be documenting that whole process. So guys, just stay tuned for that. It'll be kind of fun. But
and you just had a course go live too, right?
I did. Look, man, I did have a course go live on lynda.com, beat making with machines. So yeah, man, just trying to do what I do, man. Just spread the knowledge. But yeah.
And real quick, I just gotta point this out, and I gotta ask. So do you use the beat thing for anything other than mood lighting?
I like it for drums, man.
I saw it sitting over there, and I was like,
I just got it back. I
saw you make a beat on that thing. So
I just got it back. Knock had it for a while.
Knock had it.
Yeah. So yeah, I just got it back, man. I just play it. I like to just use the drum sounds and stuff on it, man. So
do you have my non-released expansion pack in it?
No, I need to get that. So
I'll send it in there. Yeah. That was the unreleased beat thing expansion.
Yeah, and I mean, I have one more thing. Like, what is Corey doing over there with the drumsticks, though? Like he's
I'm about to do this thing.
Oh, okay.
As soon as we get off of this, I'm about to be back on that. It's not like I'm nervous quick. Like, yeah, signing off.
He's got that crack itch. What's going on
right.
man? Let me just get one stick.
Modular, all this.
Yeah.
Talking about modular, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting into it this year, too.
Yeah.
I ain't got no drums. I just got one stick.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Willie, what's the word?
Hey, man, it was good hanging out, man. I always have a good time. Make sure y'all check out sonicexpansion.com. We got some great machine expansions, contact instruments. Be on the lookout. I'm supposed to be doing a modular course for machine masters, so be on the lookout for that one coming real soon. It'll be modular and machine, how we sample and run all your samples through the modular and, get some grit and get some good stuff going for your beats. So.
And you also got Funk Force 5 just released, and Hip Hop Horns, XXL Hip Hop Horns just released on Sonic Expansion as well. So if you need some dope contact instruments or anything, head over to sonicexpansion.com.
Can I shout out my drum kit?
No,
I appreciate it. So while y'all out there checking things out, Go to beatpeople.com and check out the Analog Boom Bap kit. It's available right now. It's banging. You'll love it, believe me.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I got.
All right, and I'll say I still have a ton of modular content coming from Namm. I'm still editing it. Yes, I have a real Namm there, but I am working on getting it up. I'm also going to be doing a video for the Synthertech MIDI CV module. So I'll be building that, and I'm going to document the build, and I'm going to do a little overview on how that modular functions, and all that good stuff. So definitely keep an eye out on that. I have another video coming out for the retail version. I don't know if you can see it, of the Orgon accumulator, which is a fantastic
I'm looking forward to that
cable module. And I also have a video coming for the Animodule Mixor, which is a really dope module as well. And yeah, basically I'm just putting out a bunch of content, hoping people are nerdy enough to care about it.
Right.
And that's kind of what I do. I'm trying to help out people and do whatever we can. And in the meantime, I'm producing sounds for SonicExpansion.com. So if you like that stuff, check it out. Head to fluxwithit.com. I got all kinds of I just did a written article that's like 2,000 words that I'm sure Joe's going to laugh at me for. But I wrote it on the plane back from Namm. So if you like it, I wrote something.
You're doing too much on the plane back from there. People supposed to be asleep.
I don't do that. Sleeping is I'll do that when I'm dead. So anyway,
Get there quicker if you don't sleep.
fluxwithit.com, SynthSummitShow. Please like and share this stuff to all your friends
Definitely.
and do that. So we'll see you next week. Peace.
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 And let me hit